Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Stannia Suci from Tirta. I will give short presentation about my team research about a panel VECM analysis of poverty, sectoral contribution, and economic growth in Aceh, Indonesia. Our team consists of Mr. Saharuddin Didu, myself, Stannia Suci, and Miss Febri Lestari, and we are from Economics Department, Sultan Ageng Tirtayasa University. Without any further ado, I will elaborate the introduction. So as for introduction, government in Indonesia takes concrete steps to create the society welfare, one of the which is through comprehensive development in every region. Community welfare is one of the goals of successful development, and poverty is an important target for its existence to be solved. Poverty is no longer seen as an economic problem, but extends the problem in other dimensions, including problems in social, health, educational, and political fields. Indonesia economic growth rate is especially dominated by two islands, namely Java and Sumatra. More than 50% of Java island contributes to Indonesian total GDP. While Sumatra Island contributes around 21% in 2019. Although Sumatra Island contributes to high economic ranks, there are several provinces that are included in the list of 10 poorest provinces in Indonesia. One of them is Aceh. So based on the data sourced from statistics, in 2020, Aceh has the sixth poverty percentage out of 34 provinces in Indonesia, and even exceeds the percentage of poverty nationally. So in the picture 2, we can see the data of economic growth in Aceh. Today, economic growth is the major issues of all countries in the world. The country's development achievement plan is the third in the third world is often seen from the level of production and income, national income. The quality of economic growth is necessary in order to reduce the number of poor people. And some research found a negative relationship between economic growth and poverty in the short and long term. But Amaluddin in 2019 found that economic growth has a positive impact in the short and long term on poverty. And in the third picture, we can see the agricultural sector contribution to the gross domestic regional brutto. The sectoral contribution of the economy to the value of GDP is to determine the rate of economic growth in 10 regions in Aceh, still dominated by the agricultural sectors. The contribution of the agricultural sector to GDP is based on the data is reaching is relatively high, reaching about 30%, as the province with more than 30%, about maybe 34% land developed for an agricultural land, and province with the largest employment in the agriculture. Aceh has the potential to optimize the agricultural resources for investment as an agro-industrial zone. The increasing contribution of the agricultural sectors has led to the decrease in poverty in the short term. And appropriate development planning to make social welfare and free people from poverty requires the main foundation by building human development quality, which can be measured through the Human Development Index. The increase in a Human Development Index every year indicates an improvement in quality of health, education, and income of the community. However, the increase in HDI achieved by Aceh can be said to be successful, but it's still the poverty rate is still high. Over the past 10 years, the average unemployment rate in Aceh also has reached more than 10%. So based on these reasons, this study wants to analyze the relationship and the causality between economic growth agricultural sector contribution, human development index, and open unemployment rate with poverty in the short and long term in 10 regions in Aceh province for the year 2011 until 2020. So here are the literature review, includes the relationship of economic growth with poverty, the relationship between the contribution of the agricultural sector and poverty, and also human development index and poverty, and also the relationship of open unemployment rate poverty. So here is the method and data. The main focus in this study is to estimate the short-term and long-term relationship and causality relationship of poverty variables with economic growth, agricultural sector contribution, human development index, and open unemployment rate in Aceh province. The research method used in this study is the panel VECM or factor error collection model method. Determination of the use of VSCM is based on the presence of non-stationary data forms at the level and co-integrated data. This study adapted the model equation used in Ahmad, Amaluddin, Baker and Atadiri, and Nansa Dika. The equation of the model used in the research is, you can see as in the screen. So here are the result. So using VSM panel analysis method, the data used must be stationary and co-integrated in the study. Stationary tests were carried out using Levin-Lin-Echo method, Fisher test with ADF, and Phillips parent test. The stationary test result for variable poverty, economic growth, agricultural contribution, HDI, and unemployment variables are shown in the table 1. The table 1 shows the variable poverty, economic growth, agricultural contribution, HDI, and unemployment contain unit roots on order 0 or not stationary at the level. So where most of the p-values for each variable are greater than 5% alpha, meaning that there is a unit root or data is not stationary. So in the level stationary test, there are no stationary variables on the 3 different methods. As a result, data needs to be differentiated to be free from root of the unit. So in the first order stationary test or first difference, there are still variables with p-values greater than 5%. And also the data is then continue with stationary test on the second difference and obtain the result that all variables has been stationary. So it can be concluded that all variables have been stationary on the in the second difference. And determination of optimal like length in the table 2 using likelihood ratio and final prediction error, IKK information criterion, and Schwarz information criterion, LRSC, and Hanan-Win information criterion values. The result of the optimal length are shown in the table 2, and we can see the conclusion that the leg length show the same leg length at the third leg, while the SC values is at the first leg. The next step is to perform the stability test. Based on the table 3, the values of root and modulus are less than 1, so the VECM model is said to be stable, and the result for VRF and VD testing are reliable. The next step is to conduct the co-integration test to identify the existence of long-term relationship among variables in the model. The result of the co-integration test in the table 4 provide information that there is long relationship between variables in the research model, so that VSCM model is used as the estimation tools to answer the research objective. The VSCM panel estimation with poverty and as endogenous variable using optimal like length 3, the next stage is analyzing the VECM model is to perform danger causality test, which aims to determine the existence of cause and effect relationship among variables. This result of the causality test in the short and long term as shown in the table 6. Based on the result, it is known that economic growth does not cause poverty. While poverty causes change in economic growth, it can be concluded that there is one-way causative relationship from the poverty variable to economic growth in the short term. Then the contribution of the agricultural sector does not cause poverty. The poverty has an impact on the contribution of the agricultural sector. It can be concluded that there is a one-way causality relationship from the poverty variable to the contribution of the agricultural sector in the short term. Human Development Index causes poverty, while poverty does not cause a Human Development Index. So it can be concluded that there is one-way causality relationship from the Human Development Index variable to poverty in the short term. And from the last variable, open unemployment rate leads to poverty. Furthermore, poverty also causes the open unemployment rate because it has p-value um, of 0.0176, less than 5% alpha. It can be concluded that there is a one or two-way causality relationship between poverty variable and the open rate in the short term. So yeah, the findings are the results show that there is an influence of economic growth and poverty in the short and long-term relationship, and the causality relationship between economic growth and poverty with negative coefficient direction. And for the relationship between the contribution of the agricultural sector and poverty, from the result, it is known that both in the short and long term, the variables contribution of the agricultural sector has no influence on poverty, and there is one-way causality relationship between from poverty contribution of the agricultural sector in Aceh. The relationship of Human Development Index with poverty, it is known that in the short term and long term relationship, Human Development Index has a significant influence on poverty with positive coefficient. And for the relationship of open unemployment rate to poverty, it showed that in short-term relation and open uh, unemployment rate variable has a significant influence on the poverty in the first like with positive coefficient direction. And for the conclusion, based on the result, the research has the uh, um, important notes in the term of the short and long-term relationship, economic growth and human development index has the significant impact on poverty, but agricultural sector's contribution does not have a significant impact. Meanwhile, the open unemployment rate has significant effect on the poverty in short-term relationship, but does not have a significant effect on the poverty in long-term relationship. In based on the findings and the conclusion obtained in the study, there are some suggestions to put forward. First, the government is expected to pay more attention to equitable economic growth to maximize support the regional economy and to improve the welfare of each community. Secondly, the agricultural sector development still needs to be improved to support food sovereignty to so that the high contribution of the agricultural sector in Aceh can be source of community prosperity. Further research is expected to include other economic and non-economic variables that can be analyzed for the effect on the poverty levels and add to both time periods of the study. Uh, so this is the reference that we use. Thank you for the attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.